My name is Sean. I wanted to do a little skit, a little something for people who have never, you know, looked into the nursing program yet, but want to do a nursing program. I thought it was very helpful to have a place to go to find out what I need to do, especially in the very beginning, pre-nursing, still trying to make that decision, trying to figure out what I'm going to need to do and what it entails. So this session is really just about what I did to get through it and all the stuff that happened because I needed that when I was, first going in. So first of all, again, my name is Sean. I am a pre-nursing student. I got accepted earlier in the fall. I'm sorry, earlier in the spring for the fall, and so I want to help the next generation of pre-nursing students get into it. So obviously, I'm a little older, so my situation is going to be different than anybody else's. But I thought it would be helpful to find out, what I did to get this far, and maybe I'd help someone out make a decision whether they want to be a nurse or not. So here we go. The first thing to know is obviously where the school is, how far it is away. You want to make sure when you're investigating into the school what the requirements are because there's a lot of different kind of requirements. I think in general they're pretty much the same, but there will be different schools who require slightly different levels of, say, math or different types of um, science classes. But in general, you're going to need the ones that I'm talking about for pretty much any school. But again, there could be slight variations in that, but it gives you a great idea. Okay, so first of all, I'm in a 2-year school, so it's an associate program. It's a community college. I couldn't afford to go to a 4-year school. I don't have that kind of time, so I'm pushing through this school, get my RN as an associate's, and then immediately get into a bachelor's. At least then I'm working, and that's kind of like the goal. So that's my kind of situation. So here it is. The first thing, like I said, you want to find out what those requirements are. For me, it was composition. In other words, English 101 was the first one that I took. I could only do part-time, so this is a part-time schedule, but you can lump them together all you want. So I took, yeah, I took the 102 class or 101 class for English, and then I had to take from my specific uh, associates in my school. They wanted us to take a computer class, Microsoft, all the products from Microsoft and stuff. I'm pretty good with a computer, but what I figured was I may need it. It may help me through, school. So if I can pick up a few things, that would be great. So I went ahead and I took that class as well. You need an elective anyway. This was kind of like a requirement for them, but even if you don't, need this as a requirement, you may think about doing some kind of a computer class. Um, just to brush up on some skills, learn maybe a couple of new programs, whatever. So again, my first spring was only 6 credits. That's pretty much my max, 6 to 9, somewhere in there. So I did the composition class and I did the computer class. So over the summer, I took my biology class. Now it's very interesting because the biology class is really not a program that nursing specific students need against their GPA, and I'll explain that in a few minutes. But if you have to have the biology class to get into the AP classes, so it's a prerequisite to get into the AP classes. So if you don't have a science background, you don't have biology in there, you're going to have to take this. It kind of sucks because it really doesn't count for anything but your general GPA, but it doesn't count for your nursing GPA. And again, I'll explain that in a second. Um, so yeah, I had to take that, and I took it over the summer. And the summer courses are very intense. It's only 5 weeks. Some schools are even 4 weeks, 3 days a week, 6 hours for a 4 credit class each day. So you say you go in Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's 6 hours each of those days. 3 hours in lecture, 3 hours in lab. So it just you want to kill yourself by the end, but you get through it, and then you're like, oh, thank God I did it. So that can be a consideration. So again, that was my kind of third credit, if you will, over the summer for my spring. So I kind of lumped it together there. In the fall, I took general psychology. That was a requirement. And then I took my math classes. I'm not a great math student, so I did take like a remedial and then a higher a mid-level college class, and I kind of lumped them together. So it was another crash kind of course. Retrospect, I probably shouldn't have done that. It was a little bit too fast for me. I did okay. I passed it and all, but I didn't really get a good grade, and that does count towards your GPA and nursing GPA. So I took those two, general psychology and my math class, in the fall semester. Then in the spring, I took my sociology class and chemistry. So again, math isn't my specialty. So although I love the experiments and all that stuff with the chemistry, that is a 4-credit class, which means there's a lab attached to it, which means it's a little extra time. It's not just a 3-credit, it's a 4-credit. So although it took a little extra time, I muddled through that because of the math part. I loved the experiments and all that stuff. The lab time was kind of cool, but these are the things that kind of draw my GPA down, my nursing GPA down. So it's very important about your nursing GPA. All right, so then in the summer, of course, as if I didn't have enough punishment, I took my anatomy and physiology class, my AP1 class in the summer. And like I said, that's a crash course, 5 weeks, 4 weeks, depending on your school, all that time. I did okay, but not great. I got a B in that class. So it's really not good enough for your GPA in nursing. You really want to get an A in that class, or at least a B plus at the very least. So I retook the class. So I took it over the summer. I got familiar with all the stuff, and then I took it with another professor in the fall. And she wasn't actually as good as she was super nice, but she wasn't as good as the other guy. So I did get a better grade and all that stuff. I just don't feel like I progressed all that much in that class. So anyway, well, I got the B plus. Didn't get quite the A. I was almost there. I didn't get the A. So there you have it. So in the next one, it's AP2, anatomy and physiology, the second one. So I did end up taking that in the spring. If I'm looking off a little bit, it's because I have my notes to my left here. And then I took my communications class with that. I did extremely well. I had a B plus in AP2 because I took the original teacher I had taken before that lady. And I kind of got used to the way he teaches. So although he's a very tough teacher, I learned a ton. So kudos to him. So the thing about so let's keep going. And then this following summer, I got accepted to the nursing school, and then I took my microbiology, and that's a 4-credit class, and that's over the summer. So I really love to get myself punished over the summer. But I muddled through that. All I had to do was pass it because I was already accepted, so it wasn't like a whole lot of pressure. And I didn't have a whole lot of time. I had to work and family and all that stuff, so I didn't get a great grade on that. I think it was a B minus or something, or a B. So it wasn't great, but I got through it. That's all I had to do. So that's not my normal, way of approaching school, but I knew it was going to be a challenge to begin with, and since I was already accepted, I kind of laxed a little bit, and I didn't get the grade I wanted, but it is what it is. So all I have left is now English 102, and I will take that in the summer next year. I don't have to take that to my senior year in nursing. So again, this is a 2-year college. So all right, so quickly about your GPA, something you have to consider as you're going through school for nursing. There is a GPA, a school GPA, your general GPA, if you will, and then there's a nursing GPA, and certain schools have certain requirements for that nursing GPA. There is a thing called a TEAS exam, and that goes into the nursing GPA. It is a general exam. You normally have to take it. Each school may have a different kind of exam. It may not be the one that I took, but you'll have to probably take something to evaluate what you've learned and all that stuff. So that goes into your GPA, and that's like a 3-hour test. You take it somewhere, whether it's at the school or somewhere else. You register for it, you take the test, and then they take that grade, GPA, the grade that you got on there, and don't expect 100 or anything. It's not like that. It's more like, from what I understand, it's a percentage of people, and all the people that have taken it, what their scores are, and it's against that. So it's not a if you get a 75, it doesn't mean you have a C. It means only 75% of the people that have taken it before have done as well as that. So don't get all hung up on the grades. You just want to get like somewhere around a 70, and that'll get you competitive. 75, that'll get you, that's really good. So if you get like an 80 and 90, which I do know a few people who've gotten that high, that's amazing. That's totally amazing. So put it in perspective. I got a 70, dead on. So I just made it competitive enough. Like I said, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. I'm too old for that, but but I got through. All right, so that grade goes into your nursing GPA, which does not count for your prereqs to get into the program or into the class that you need. Example, biology is you need that to get into A&P1. That does not count against your GPA in nursing, only against your regular GPA. All right, so I hope you follow me there. So then they put that together. Now, anatomy and physiology is an extremely important class, AP1, okay? That is 25% of your GPA, at least in our school. And a lot of schools do this, so it may not surprise you to know that, another school does that too. So they put that together, and then they come up with your GPA, and then they weigh it against all the other students that are trying to attend nursing, and see where you rank. And then they rank you from top to bottom. And some schools only take ranked. Some schools will take ranked up to like 75% of the class, and then random, whatever. Yeah, and this is what you need to investigate, which the schools you're going to, is how they're recording that, because it's very important in the end. Imagine if you did okay in classes, you hand in your application, and they only take the ranked. You're not even the top 25%. You don't have a shot. So this is what I'm saying. You need to understand, what they're requiring for you, or about to get into the classes. Okay. So it is a lot of work. It is time consuming, but of course it's worth it. So if you're like me, where you have family and you have to have a job and all that stuff, you're going to be balancing all that stuff out. If you're a student coming out of high school, nail it, man. I mean, go after it and do the best you can. So that's kind of the thing you're going to have to do. And for chemistry, for high school, I believe that they'll take, at least our school did, they'll take your high school chemistry as long as you did well. Just know that the grade you get goes against your GPA in nursing. So if you got a C, C+, you better be happy with that, because that's what's gonna go right into your average. So a lot of students out of high school retake it just to get that that really good grade. Unless of course you got an A, then all is good. So that's kind of like what I wanted to talk to you about. So the most important thing is know what they're requiring for you. Know the classes you're going to have to take. I would suggest making a very long list of how exactly you're going to get through these classes, how much time you're able to spend, and then execute that. I did that right from the start. I had an itinerary and exactly what I was going to do, and pretty much I followed it to a T, with the exception of a few wrinkles about retaking a class, but leave room for that too. Know what you're going to need to, apply for the nursing schools. Some people say, hey, AP2, you don't have to take that until you get into nursing school, so don't take it. Unless you want to get it all the way out, all done like I did before you even start nursing. The only thing I have left now is English 102, which I'm going to take in the summer. It's a three credit class. It's not going to be nearly as bad as the ones I've just been taking. So, just come up with a plan and understand what you're going to do. And then, make sure your family's behind you. You don't want to get halfway through and say, we can't do it. So that too. Financial aid, find out all about that and stay on top of it as best you can. Especially if you're a working dad or a mom, or you have family, or you're a single parent. There's help out there. You got to go find that, and you'll be surprised. I've been very lucky and haven't had to pay a whole lot for school, because financial aid really helps. So investigate that. All right, so it's Sean. I will talk to you again. I'll probably do a part 2, and that is basically some of the other ins and outs that you might want to know before you start. All right, check it out. See you later.